Hi, I'm Vicki Hibbert, Public Information Specialist for Tucson Water, and welcome to the first Beat the Peak virtual press conference. In these tough economic times, Tucson Water is exploring new, cost-effective ways to deliver our water conservation message. Tucson Water feels that using the tools offered through the internet can do this all year round. This year's 2009 Beat the Peak campaign is about Tucson Water's mascot, Pete the Beak's persona transforming into a master of computer and social networking, spreading the word about water conservation. We call him Pete the Geek. This year, the theme is Click to Save H2O, and it'll allow both children and adults to learn more about how to save water by visiting Pete's MySpace page and Tucson Water's website. Pete's MySpace is an interactive site where you can become Pete's friend, view Pete's past public service announcements, blog about water conservation, enter contests to win prizes, and even develop a YouTube conservation video, and much more. To access Pete's MySpace page, go to www.myspace.com/PeteTheBeak. So everyone, click to save H2O, save water for the future of our community. Now here's Tucson's Mayor, Bob Walkup, with a few words about how important water conservation is to our city.
I'm always happy to join my feathered friend, Pete the Beak, to tell Tucson Water customers about the importance of water conservation. This year, you can simply click to save H2O on Beat the Peak MySpace page. The city is continuing to develop programs that encourage the use of water harvesting and gray water irrigation of Tucson's landscape to save drinking water. So join the community's water conservation efforts. I'm happy to join Pete in asking all Tucsonans to click to save H2O. Now I'd like to turn the virtual podium over to Tucson Water Director, Jeff Biggs.
Thank you, Mayor Walkup. Hi, I'm Jeff Biggs, Director of Tucson Water. Thanks to all of you out there for viewing the first virtual reality news conference to help kick off our 2009 Beat the Peak campaign. The Beat the Peak program is one of the most successful water conservation awareness programs in the country. For the past 33 years, Tucson has remained a national leader in the wise use of water. We are often contacted by other utilities seeking advice and information about our water conservation programs. Even though we are among national leaders in using water wisely, we must continue to find ways to become even more water efficient. This is especially true given the long-term drought in the southwest United States and the potential for climate change impacting our water supplies.
Thank you, Jeff. Conserving water in Tucson means doing more while using less water. And even though we are in a drought, we can still maintain the high quality of life that our director, Jeff Biggs, referred to. We can do this by following some simple tips. First, learn how to irrigate properly. When you water your plants, make sure that you give them the right amount, and make sure your irrigation system isn't broken or leaking. Second, utilize rainwater and gray water harvesting techniques to water landscape plants. Gray water is water that we use in our homes and recycle. Both of these are good ways to water your plants during drought without tapping into our drinking water resources. Third, find ways to reduce water use inside your home, like fixing your leaks. You can also consider changing your old high water use toilet with a new high efficiency toilet. In addition to saving 2 gallons or more of water with each flush, you might even qualify for a rebate from Tucson Water. Anything that you can do inside the house to reduce water use will help all year round. When we all work together to beat the peak in the summertime, it means we can limit the amount of groundwater that gets pumped from our well fields. But Tucsonans can help beat the peak year-round by using water wisely all of the time. Remember, visit Pete's MySpace page and get more detailed advice on how to save water. Now, I'd like to introduce Glenn Sampson from the National Weather Service to tell you what we can expect this summer from our weather.
When we look at the current conditions in the Tucson area, we're actually behind normal for precipitation, approximately 1.3 inches. And that's since the beginning of the year. In other words, we've not received as much rain as we normally receive from January through the current time period. If you were to look at, well, how is the rest of Arizona faring, we're actually, much of Arizona is in abnormally dry conditions, with Tucson being in a moderate drought. And I actually have a chart here that shows that. You can see there's a light beige color here that comes up into Pima County over the Tucson area. That means we're in a moderate drought. And that also extends over into Cochise County. So these two things indicate that we have not received as much precipitation as normal. When you look at the forecast for May and June is always very dry in southern Arizona. For Tucson, on average, we only receive 1/4 of an inch each month. And that's when also the temperatures get very hot. So during May and June, we can expect not a lot of rain, a lot of sun, and then temperatures soaring into the hundreds for many of the days. As we go into the forecast even further, looking out into the summertime period and what the monsoon is going to offer, I have two charts here. The first one shows the temperature forecast for June, July, and August. And what we see here is we see a red area centered over Arizona. What this means is there's a higher probability of above normal temperatures for the summer. In other words, we're going to have a slightly warmer summer than we have had in the past several years. If you look at the precipitation forecast, it's a similar type of pattern again, except we see green over the Arizona area. Now, this is basically the amount of precipitation that we're expecting to see during the monsoon. The monsoon, which is primarily July and August, we receive about half of our annual precipitation, about 6 inches a year. For Tucson, the normal yearly precipitation is about 12 inches. So the summer is very important to us. Seeing green in this, that means it's slightly above normal. So we're expecting more than likely a slightly early start to the monsoon and then more precipitation. One of the reasons we see more precipitation is because the longer the monsoon lasts, the more the number of days we can have that actually rain on us.
Thank you for joining us for our online press conference. And don't forget to beat the peak all summer long and all year long.